Welcome to MDG friends, I'm Ryan. Let's do yet another deck tech, and this time we're gonna do this guy. It's Heliod Sun Crowned. This one is a super fun mono white build where we're dealing with life gain and +1/+1 counters. So Heliod Sun Crowned, this is a legendary enchantment creature god out of Theros Beyond Death. He is indestructible as long as your devotion to white is less than 5. He's not a creature. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on target creature or enchantment you control. And then for an additional 2, another target creature gains lifelink until end of turn. So in this build, we're going to be dealing with trying to buff up our creatures, get those +1/+1 counters on. Plus we have a couple alt win conditions for having a certain amount of life, and if that wasn't snazzy enough, we also have a combo in here with Heliod Sun Crowned that is an OTK 1-turn kill, y'all. All right, as usual, if you are new to the channel, please hit subscribe, hit the like button, hit the alerts. Moving on. All right, as in all of our deck techs, we're going to go over the packages. All right, Heliod Sun Crowned life gain train. What? Woot, woot. All right, we got draw, of course. We got our little combo that we're going to talk about. The combo is actually with one or another card. We have a couple shenanigan cards. Not too many shenanigan cards. We actually have a new one that I haven't put in a deck tech yet, and that is our Jank category. Although we do have lots of janky cards throughout all of deck techs. We got some alt wind that I was speaking about just previously. A fair amount of removal, not a ton of the removal, but we also have protection and control. Lots of control in white. And then, of course, ramp and the land package. We got a maybe board, sideboard for any budgetary swaps and considerations, or just a few that didn't quite make the cut. All right, well, let's jump in, and Architect apparently is going to start with draw. And of course, in the description below is going to be a link to this 99 cards EDH with the commander, as well as a deck list. And please, by all means, put comments in the comment sections. Here we go, yo. All right, first up, we are dealing with some draw. Alms Collector, it's a 4-drop 3/4 creature cat cleric with flash. I love that this has flash, and it's a measly 4-drop, which is fabulous. If an opponent would draw 2 or more cards instead, you and that player each draw a card. Me likey. All right, next up, of course, is Enlightened Tutor. Grab an instance or sorcery, put at the top of your library. Mangara the Diplomat. This is new out of Core 2021. When I saw this in spoiler season, I just thought, wow, I'm going to need to build a mono white and shoehorn this thing in there. And guess what? We're shoehorning it into this one. But not really, because it does have lifelink. It's a 2/4. Whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of these creatures are attacking you or planeswalkers you control, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, draw a card. This is so incredibly great. And for a 4-drop, it's even got a 4 body. I mean, it's just an all-around very good utility creature card. So, yep, definitely including this in this life gain deck. Mentor of the Meek. It's a 3-drop 2/2. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1 if you do draw a card. Now, we're not doing all weenies in this deck, but we do have a good amount of power 2/1 that is going to definitely let us utilize this mechanic of Mentor of the Week. So that's why we have included it. Ranger of Eos. It's a 4-drop 3/2 human soldier. Whenever Ranger of Eos enters the battlefield, you may search your library for up to 2 creature cards with converted mana cost 1 or less, reveal them, and put them into your hand. If you do, shuffle your library. So we have a few splatterings of some 1-drops that are really helpful in terms of utility, and those will come up momentarily in the other 99 cards. Ranger, Captain of Eos, 3-drop 3/3. Whenever Ranger, Captain of Eos enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost 1 or less. Here we go again with the 1 or less shenanigans. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Sacrifice Ranger Captain of Use. Your opponents can't cast non-creature spells this turn. I love that this has a double duty in its mechanics, so we can use it to go fetch something we need, and then we can also sack it to shut down some combos that might start going off. Very effective card. Recruiter of the Guard, another one that lets us fetch some stuff. It's a 3-drop 1/1. When Recruiter of the Guard enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a creature card with toughness 2 or less, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So we have even more that are 2 and less as well. So utility cards running amok. All right, and then in draw, we have Scroll Rack. It's a 2-drop artifact. It's a 1-tap, exile any number of cards from your hand face down. Put that many cards from the top of your library into your hand. Then look at the exiled cards and put them on top of your library in any order. Now, if you need to do a budget swap because it's just too spendy, Scroll Rack, I mean, you can always put in like a Mind Stone or something a little less effective. There really isn't much of a replacement for Scroll Rack per se, but it's a very nice one, very effective, especially when we're running mono white. Next up, Well of Lost Dreams. It's a 4-drop artifact. Whenever you gain life, you may pay X, where X is less than or equal to the amount of life you've gained. If you do, draw X cards. So, I mean, even if you only pay 1X, you're still getting that extra card. And, you know, white isn't necessarily known for super draw mechanics, so we're going to take every bit of help we can. All right. We are into removal. Austere Command, a 6-drop, oldie but goodie. Choose 2, destroy all artifacts, destroy all enchantments, destroy all creatures with a converted mana cost 3 or less, destroy all creatures with a converted mana cost 4 or greater. So it's got a lot of versatility, so you can choose based off of what the playfield looks like. Austere Command. This is certainly a swappable card. If you want to put maybe spot removal in here or maybe more artifact disenchantment type stuff, I prefer Austere Command because of that versatility. However, mind you, it is a 6-drop. If you're not comfortable with this being 6, just put something little different in there. You know, you could even put in a disenchant, which only costs you 2. All right, Darksteel Mutation. Mutation. Darksteel Mutation. Whew. My goodness. All right, 2-drop. Enchantment Aura. If you weren't familiar with this, this is a very nice control piece. Enchant Creature. Enchanted Creature is an insect artifact creature with base power and toughness 0/1 and has indestructible, and it loses all other abilities, card types, and creature types. So, if you have an opponent with a super sticky creature that has indestructible and you just can't get a -1/-1 counter or however many it is, you can drop this on it and boom, off to the races. It just sits there and sits there and sits there. Darksteel Mutation is a very effective card. And you know, there are some occasions where you might even do it to your own creature. It comes up every once in a while, but it also has that versatility as well. Doomskar, brand new out of Kaldheim. It's a Wrath of God for, in essence, 3 if you foretell it. So it costs you 5 out of the gate, but if you foretell it out of your hand for 2, which just means exile it face down, so the opponents don't even know, hey, a new subscriber, thank you, woohoo! Keep those subscriptions coming. Oh, we're doing it live, folks. We're doing it live. All right, Doomskar, 5-drop out of the gate, or you can foretell it, exile it face down, and then on any other turn, you can't do it same turn, foretell, you can play it for 3. Very effective mass removal for surezies, folks. Fumigate, got this in here because it gets you life as well. Destroy all creatures, you gain 1 life for each creature destroyed this way. This is a very snazzy card, especially if you got an opponent that's going wide, say, I don't know, Elf Tribal, Goblin Tribal, Tribal, anything Tribal. This thing is gonna rock it for sure. All right, next up is Generous Gift for 3. I believe this is, out of Commander Legends and Modern Horizons. Destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green elephant creature token. Very nice removal in white. All right, we got Heliod's Intervention doing some double duty here. You can destroy X target artifacts and or enchantments, or you can target player gains twice X life, which of course would be you. And if you got Heliod out there, or you got some life gain shenanigans going on, you drop this Intervention, gain a bunch of life, go all out on your opponent to the face, or all sorts of things. You know the thing we do in Commander. All right, Path to Exile. It's a 1-drop. Remove target creature from the game. His controller may search his or her library for a basic land card. Put that card into play tap, then shuffle his or her library. So, just very nice spot removal. Wrath of God. Yep. Mass removal. And now we have some ramp going on. We got Gift of Estates. White is not known for being able to ramp super effectively. So basically what we're trying to do with this build, and often in mono white, is we're trying to match our opponents that keep ramping up with lands. And we have a good amount of mana rocks as well, so we can keep up with that, especially with like opponents playing green, etc., etc. If an opponent controls more lands than you, search your library for up to 3 plains cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. That is snazzy, and I like it. Wow, that's 2 schnazies in 1 episode? Alright, I better not do any schnazies anymore. Jeweled Lotus. It's a new one out of Commander Legends that just shocked the hell out of me, frankly. I figured this thing was going to stay at $20, just go down and just level off. Boy, was I mistaken on that one. It is a spendy card, so you can certainly swap this out in terms of ramp. Just the regular one is gonna run you roughly $70-$80 as of this recording. But it's really good. You sack it for 3 mana of any one color for your commander specifically. You can easily swap this out for another mana rock, or even another plains for that matter. You absolutely do not have to run this. Okie dokie smoky. Next up is Keeper of the Accord. I was really impressed with this card when it came out in Commander Legends and we were doing spoilers in previous episodes. It is at the beginning of each opponent's end step. If that player controls more creatures than you, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, if that player controls more lands than you may search your library for a basic plains card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. So again, we're going to keep up with anything that's, all those cultivates and all the other stuff that's dropping lots of lands onto our opponent's battlefield. This keeps up with that very, very nicely. Keeper of the Accords. All right, land tax. Yes, of course, we are playing white, so therefore, you got it. Land tax is in there. During your upkeep, if an opponent controls more land than you may search your library and remove up to 3 basic land cards and put them into your hand. Reshuffle your library afterwards. And that is just a tasty, tasty card. Land tax is kind of one of a kind. Hard to budgetarily swap out of this. But by all means, you can put in just another basic mana rock. Or you can put another plains. But I would recommend at least putting in a mana rack, skull rack, rock. Yes, sirree, Bob. You could put in something else that maybe fetches you colorless mana to just try to keep up and keep ramping up. All right, Mana Crypt. Oh, yeah. Soul Ring that costs you nothing and costs you 3 life if you lose a flip every turn. Nyx Lotus, and it's not super spendy, so this is a budgetarily conscious one to put in any mono-colored decks. Nyx Lotus enters battlefield tap, and that's okay. I'd prefer that it doesn't come in tapped, but tap, choose a color, add an amount of mana of that color equal to the devotion to that color. So this thing can really start helping you out of Theros Beyond Death. Pearl Medallion, the medallion for white when white spells cost you 1 less to cast. Smothering Tithe, a very, very big staple in white. 4-drop, whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2. If the player doesn't, you create a colorless treasure artifact token that you can sack for more mana. And of course, we got Soul Ring. And then we have Weathered Wayfarer, another way to go get some lands for free in essence. You tap it For 1 white, search your library for a land card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Play this ability only if an opponent controls more lands than you. So we can make sure that we can keep putting lands out every turn. Alright, we got a little life gain action going on, and we're going to start it with Aetherflux Reservoir. I actually put this in a couple other life gain decks I have in like my Loro deck, which you can check that one out at the link above. Alright, whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell you've cast this turn. So just nice, constant life gain. And then some OTK action sometimes is pay 50 life. Aetherflux Reservoir deals 50 damage to target creature or player, which usually by the time you're utilizing this mechanic, you're knocking your opponent out one at a time, 50, 50, 50. Now, this isn't the kind of deck where you're going to end up with 1,000 life, although if you do, then your opponents are doing something very, very wrong. But yeah, this one is very great. Double duty, continually gains you life, and you can use it to knock one of your opponents out. Ajani, Strength of the Pride. I really like this card for life gain, mainly because of its 0 loyalty mechanic. If you have at least 15 life more than your starting life total, exile Ajani, Strength of the Pride, and each artifact and creature your opponent controls. Boom, poof, everything goes away. That's pretty awesome. Plus Ajani. But even the +1 and the -1 aren't too shabby. Its +1 is you gain life for the number of creatures you control plus planeswalkers. And then its -2 is you create a 2/2 cat soldier that gets +1/+1 when you gain life. So it's mainly that exiling everything else mechanic that we have this in here for. All right, let's see if I butcher this name. Alhammarret's Archive. I think I got it. 5-drop legendary artifact. If you would gain life, you gain twice that much life instead. If you draw a card except the first one you draw in each of your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. Booyah, booyah, booyah. It's mainly the life gain thing that we're concerned about there. Archangel of Thune. It is a 5-drop flying lifelink. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. That's right, on each creature. And it's got a 3/4 body, but I really like the fact that this is a 5-drop with a lot of extra fun stuff going on there. It's a very, very powerful card in this kind of a build. Daxos, Blessed of the Sun, 2-drop. Its toughness is equal to the devotion of white, and anytime you have a creature that dies, you get +1 life. So its body keeps getting bigger the more white creatures and permanents you have out, and you keep that +1 life going. Linden, the Steadfast Queen at a Throne of Eldrano. It is also fantastic. Vigilance, whenever a white creature you control attacks, you gain 1 life. This gets out of control real quick, especially if you have board presence and you got Heliod out going, doing its +1/+1 counter action. Rock's Faith Mender. You may or may not be familiar with this one. It is a 4-drop 1/5 body. It is from 2013 that was also reprinted in Jumpstart. So it's got lifelink, and if you would gain life, you gain twice that much life instead. So if you got the +1/+1 counters going on, ooh, got, hey, another subscriber. Thank you. Woohoo. Love it. Love it. 2-in-1 episode. Digging it. Digging it, y'all. Digging it right. Boop, boop. Doing a little dance. Doing a little dance. Get down tonight. Get down tonight. I am not editing that out. All right, moving on. Moving on. Whew, I'm on a roll today, folks. I'm on a roll. All right, Sarah Ascendant. Speaking of 1-drops that we can fetch with a couple of our other creatures we've already talked about, this one is a fabulous one because it's a 1-drop 1/1 with lifelink that becomes a 6/6 if you have 30 life or more. I mean, can you ask for more out of a 1-drop? No. Nay, I say. Nay, I say. That was good English, right? Speaker of the Heavens out of Core 21. Couple cards out of Core 21 in this build. It's a 1-drop as well. 1/1 Vigilance lifelink with the tap. Create a 4/4 Angel token with flying. And that is if you have a measly 7 life more than you started with. I mean, awesomeness Maximus. Especially if this thing's in your opening hand. What? Whoop, whoop. All right, Sword of Light and Shadow. If you got it, I would say run it. If you don't, you could run like Amethyst? Whew. Did I butcher that sword? Sword of Light and Shadow. It's got the +2/+2 protection from white and from black. Now, we don't care that it has protection from white because we're not running a bunch of auras and all that kind of stuff. So that's not going to impede the build we have going here. Because keep in mind, if you attach this to a creature that has any kind of white attachments to it, auras and everything, that will get sloughed off because this gives it protection from white. Just keep that in the back of your head in case you do any swaps. And also it has this wonderful little thing where you gain 3 damage if you do combat damage to a player, and you gain 3 life, and you may return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, so Worm Coil Engine, it is a 6-drop. Not too happy about that, but totally acceptable because it is a 6/6 with Death Touch and Lifelink, and when it dies, you get a 3/3 Life Linker and a 3/3 Death Toucher. I mean, yeah, we'll take it with fries with that, man. All right, so we're into our combo. So let's slow it down a little bit, get in the mood for this insanely funny combo with either this card or the next one. It's Triskelion for 6. It's a 1/1. It comes into battle with 3 1/1 counters. You can remove a 1/1 counter from Triskelion. Triskelion deals 1 damage to target creature or player. So the combo is if you have Heliod out on the battlefield, whether it's a creature or not, you need to have 2 mana open, and then you can give Triskelion a lifelink, remove a 1/1 counter, ping your opponent for 1 damage, which because it now has lifelink, Heliod gives it another +1/+1 counter. That goes infinite unless it gets interrupted by your opponents, and it's game over. Go to game 2. The same thing goes for Walking Ballista. You got +1/+1 counters on Walking Ballista. You remove 1 and then give it lifelink with Heliod like Triskelion, and then you go infinite with this one as well. Saucy, saucy, spicy, spicy. All right, and then next up we have Angel of Destiny. This is new at a Zendikar Rising, flying double strike. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you and that player each gain that much life. At the beginning of your end step, if you have at least 15 more than your starting life total, each player Angel of Destiny attack this turn loses the game. So you can start knocking off your opponents one at a time. This is pretty snazzy, and it's not going to be difficult for you to be having 15 more life than your starting 40 or 30 if you're playing 1v1. All right, now we have Approach of the Sun. This isn't a alt-win scenario specifically because of life gain, but it does give you 7 life when you play it the first time. Let me just read the flipping card. How about that? If Approach of the Sun was cast from your hand and you've cast another spell named Approach of the Sun this game, you win the game. Otherwise, put Approach of the Sun into its owner's library, 7th from the top, and you gain 7 life. So, what's very nice about this is you play it the first time, you gain 7 life, you put it 7 from the top, and then if you wanted, if you're feeling a little froggy, you could always go fetch this card with, say, Enlightened Tutor, something like that. Otherwise, you just wait a couple more turns, and boom, you got the game in the bag, yo, in the bag! Of course, watch out for them blue control players that are going to counter it and be waiting for it. So, there you go. There you go. Yes, sir. All right, now we got Celestial Convergence. This is a tricky one because we're not running anything that's removing counters. Let me read the card. For 4, it's an enchantment. Celestial Convergence comes into play with 7 omen counters. Zeben. So you get 7 clock counter going. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove an omen counter from a Celestial Convergence. If there are no omen counters on Celestial Convergence, the player with the highest life total wins the game. So hopefully you're doing this the right way by being the person with the most life. If 2 or more players are tied for the highest life total, the game is a draw. So yes, we're dealing with a lot of life gain here, so there's a real good chance you're the one that's gonna have the most life. Even if the board is stalled, this gets you to the end. Very nice indeed. Now, Felidar Sovereign does the same kind of shenanigans, just a little more effectively. And that was out of Zendikar. Had a couple reprints. What is going on? Another subscriber. Woohoo! I love it. I love it. Keep the support going, folks. Thank you so much. All right, Felidar Sovereign. It's a 6-drop Vigilance lifelink. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 40 or more life, you win the game. Now, this just means that you need to keep this bad boy alive for 1 turn. And, of course, have 40 life or more. And then, boom. Game over. Move on to the next game. Scoop, scoop, scoop. All right, Giver of Runes. We're into protection. We got a good amount of protection going on because we want to really keep the board state nice and slow and keep it controlled. Another target creature you control gains protection from colorless. Do that again. Another target creature you control gains protection from colorless or from the color of your choice until end of turn. That is so weird the way they wrote that. It should just say any color, but I know they have to get that colors part in there. I get it. I get it. Grand Abolisher. Boy, this is really... I'm not going to say auto-include because somebody inevitably put in the comments, there's no such thing as auto-include. You know who you are. You know who you are. Grand Abolisher 2-drop. During your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. Really nice slowing down of the board. Mother of Runes 1-drop. Target creature you control gains protection from a color of your choice until end of turn. This one, actually, I just pleasantly stumbled across. I had totally forgotten about this card back from the days of these flip cards. Runetail, Kitsune Ascendant. When you have 30 or more life, flip Runetail, Kitsune Ascendant. And then it turns into a legendary enchantment. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to creatures you control. That's pretty funny. I mean, come on. Really? Laugh with me. You gotta laugh with me. Come on, laugh with me. All right, Teferi's Protection. Commander 2017 with a few reprints. I really did not like the artwork in the Secret Layers version. I don't know why. I can't explain it. It just looks goofy. Anyways, instant until your next turn, your life total can't change and you have protection from everything. All permanents you control phase out. And then when they phase out, they're treated as though they don't exist. They phase in before untap during your untap step. So basically, nothing can happen to any of your permanents, and then they phase back in. It's such a strong protection piece for white. All right, we are into land. Now, we are running mostly basic plains lands. This one really utilizes that. We have a couple other utility cards, but the land base here is actually going to be, relatively speaking, very affordable. So you don't have to be worrying about all the fetch lands and the dual lands and all that craziness that really spikes the cost of this stuff. Emeria the Sky Ruin comes in tapped at the beginning of your upkeep. If you control 7 or more planes, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. And that is a static ability. You don't have to do anything to make that happen. And then you can tap it and add white to your mana pool. Boy, that is a super duper mono white card. Flagstones. If it gets crushed, you get to put a plains into play tapped. Scooby Dooby. All right, Inventor's Fair. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more artifacts, you gain 3 life. There's probably a good chance you're going to have 3 artifacts out there. And then you just keep getting a life each turn. Add 1 colorless to your mana pool. And for 4, you can sack it, search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library, activate this ability only if you control 3 or more artifacts. So that's also just like a nice little bonus. All right, Legion's Landing. Technically, I guess it's not initially a land, but I put it into land anyways. We're doing fine with the land base here. When Legion's Landing enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. When you attack with 3 or more creatures, transform Legion's Landing, and then we transform it into a land. Woohoo! That does extra snazzy stuff with creating vamps. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. Any mono-colored deck really should have Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. You can tap it for 2 and choose a color. White, of course, in this situation. Add your mana pool in any amount of color equal to your devotion. So, I mean, you got 5 white mana pips out there. You're adding 5 for the cost of 2 colors. I mean, can't beat it. Can't beat it, yo. Can't beat it. All right, we're running 28 planes, just regular old vanilla. Haha, see what I did there? Vanilla planes? Yeah. Yes, of course you saw what I did there. War Room, also a fantastic card for any mono-colored builds and even dual, depending on what you're going after. For 3, you pay life equal to the number of colors in your commander's color identity and draw a card. And then we got a couple shenanigan cards. Avacyn, Angel of Hope. It is spendy, but it is an 8/8. And when I say spendy, I mean mana-wise. 5 white, 8/8 flying, vigilance, indestructible. All the permanents you control have indestructible. So this is easily swappable for if you don't want to be spending that much mana on your some of these upper level cards in the deck. You can certainly just swap this out for a mana dork, not a mana dork, but a weenie or whatever. I like this card. I want to put it in here. I like the stonk. What? Sun Titan for 6. This 6 drop is definitely justified. It's a 6/6 vigilant giant. Whenever Sun Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, you may return target permanent, not just a creature, but a permanent card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That is spicy, folks. Super duper spicy. All right, now for the first time ever, at least this is the first time in an episode I've done this, that we have a jank category because dude, this is super jankalicious. Bruna the Fading Light for 7. When you cast Bruna the Fading Light, you may return target angel or human creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's got flying, vigilance, and then the combo piece with this is Gisela the Broken Blade for 4. Now this is a great card just by itself. It's a 4/3 flyer, first strike lifelinker. At the beginning of your end step, if you both own and control Gisela the Broken Blade and a creature named Bruna the Fading Light, and you can fetch this with Bruna, of course, as you already know, exile them, then meld them into Brasilla, Voice of Nightmares. This disgusting, gross, awesome 9/10 body shenanigans thing. Holy moly. That's just fun. You pull off that combo, you're having fun, and that's the whole point of this game. That's why I included this. That's why I think you should too. I mean, that's just hilarious. And when you start laughing, do it internally. And then when you start crying because they wipe it off the board, do that internally too. All right. Now for some control, we have Abeyance at the top of the list. This is a 2-drop instant until end of turn. Target player can't play instants, interrupt, sorceries, or abilities requiring activation cost. Draw a card. Shut it down, folks. Shut her down. Very nice, spicy card. All right, next up is Aura of Silence for 3. Artifact and enchantment spells your opponent cost 2 more to cast. Sacrifice. That's a lot of cast, cost stuff going on right there. Sacrifice Aura of Silence, destroy target artifact or enchantment. So just makes things a lot harder for your opponent. Aven Mindcensor, flash, flying. If an opponent would search a library, that player searches the top 4 cards of that library instead. Drannith Magistrate. This is a gross white card. This is 2-drop 1/3. It's really gross in Commander. Your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hands, which, of course, includes their commander. Yep, that's right, their commander. All right. Oh, I always mess this up. Eidolon of Rhetoric, 3-drop 1/4 enchantment creature spirit. Each player can't cast more than one spell each turn. And that's not a problem for us because we're trying to slow the board down and just keep systematically dropping stuff, boom, 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 and keep them from going off. So very nice indeed. Ghostly Prison, a staple in white. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. Leonin Arbiter, 2-drop 2/2. Players can't search libraries. Any player may pay 2 for that player to ignore this effect until end of turn. So this is actually more effective than you'd realize when you first look at it, because that mana management that they end up having to do really slows them down a little bit, and then they have to decide whether they're going to try to be searching their library and stuff like that. So it's actually a very nice include. Linvala, Keeper of Silence, 4-drop, another way to shut down stuff going on. Flying, activated abilities of creatures your opponents control can't be activated. Woohoo! No, no, no. All right, Sanctum Prelate, 3-drop. As Sanctum Prelate enters the battlefield, choose a number. Non-creature spells with converter mana cost equal to the chosen number can't be cast. That's right, folks. That's right. A lot of white hate going on here. Silence, 1-drop. Your opponents can't cast spells this turn. That's right. Silence, very nice staple in white. Swords' Plowshares, of course. Exile target creature. They gain life. All right, and almost over with control. That's Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. It's a 2-drop 2/1 for striker. Non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. And by the time you're utilizing this, we've pretty much played most of the spells we need, and that extra 1 pip really isn't going to bother us too much. But it's very nice, especially in the early game, to slow down your opponent's plays. It's very good. And we're playing a few more creatures than maybe we normally would, and a few less sorceries and instants that we usually would. So very nice indeed. And that brings us all the way around to the beginning with Heliod Sun Crowned. I love this deck. It is very fun, very spicy. Mono White is not known to be played a ton in Commander, so you are probably going to take a few people by surprise with this card. It's got just enough control and hate and shenanigans going that you're really going to be able to hold your own. It's not going to break the bank to play this deck. Not all the cards are, budget, but you're in pretty good shape with this one. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you leave comments in the comment section. Positive reinforcement is always welcome. And absolutely put cards in there that you would include in this deck. I always love to hear of things that maybe I hadn't thought of, or swaps that you would do for your build. Bring it on, folks. Bring it on. All right. Thanks again for tuning in, and thank you for your support. Check you later.